I would like to talk about the symbols in the text just below the surface by Kate Nivison and the title of the text. And I'll start with the symbols. In the text, we hear about some rats, and the rats symbolize the white majority's view on the immigrants. Um, Barry, who is the rat man who's supposed to help our protagonist, he is a symbol of the white majority's view on immigrants. Because you can't say that every Englishman would say that immigrants is a problem. But in this text, immigrants is a problem. And the reason why we know that red symbolizes immigrants is by the following quote, which you can see on page 9, column 1, line 16 to 17, where there is a quote that says, "They came over on the ships, you see, from out east, so they say. Still you know all about that, I suppose. Because you already know, our protagonist is from India and is an immigrant." And Barry, he thinks that immigrants are very unreliable and that they're dead smart. So it is a problem for him that they are that smart because they easily manage to survive in the English society. But as it says on page 10, column 1, line 6, Barry says system can't take it anymore. So he says that the English society can't take having all these immigrants anymore. And I would say that he implies that immigrants belongs to the underclass by this following quote, which you see here, because he says it's like rush hour in the underground down there. There's a million of them just below the surface. He says that they're in the underground and that there are millions of them and that they are just below the surface because you may not see immigrants be politicians. That's not that common, and they often just stick to having jobs in a store or cleaning, not jobs which you earn a lot of money for or that you need a high education for. So they are in the underground mostly. And as I just said, he says that they're super smart, and that's why he called them super rats. Barry thinks that the immigrants should be ignored, and if he could, he would send them back home from where they came from, which also stands in the quote here. The main thing is to send them back where they came from and pretend they ain't there. Actually, Barry doesn't really give a reason why he doesn't like rats. He just don't. He thinks that rats he thinks that the immigrants they make a lot of trouble and that they aren't good for the English society. I guess so, but he can't come up with an argument for why to send them back from where they came from. And 2 seconds. And now I will talk about the meaning of the title just below the surface. Of course, what Barry said before was that the rats was just below the surface, and now we think that the rats are the immigrants. So you could say that the immigrants are just below the surface. But I would say that it could also be this hatred and hostile that we have against each other. For it's like in every country there are people who are very hostile to immigrants, and also just in their homeland. For example, in apartheid and under the Second World War with Holocaust, Hitler didn't want Jews to live. Um, at that time, of course, the hatred and prejudice was not just below the surface, but I think that this text refers to that in our societies nowadays, these prejudice is just below the surface. When we walk around in the street, we may not say that we don't like the immigrants who lives in our country, but maybe if we had the choice, we would like to be free of them, and we would like that they lived in their own country. Um, I think this text is very provocative because it's clear that Barry he says it very clearly that he doesn't like immigrants, and in the text the narrator also says, which is an I narrator, she says, oh yes, this time I knew exactly what he meant. So in the text she figures out that he refers to the immigrants, because there are people who likes immigrants and wants to help them, and then there are some who doesn't like them. Of course, I think it's good to have novels like this to hopefully make a discussion about it. So just to sum up, just below the surface, the title of the text refers to the prejudice that is in the society, for the prejudice for different races, and it might be because of the survival of the fittest, because we are afraid every time we we meet someone who is different from us, because we don't know what it is, and we don't know whether it's someone we should fear or see as a competitor, or see as a competitor to our own lives, and in this text to our society, because Barry thinks that the immigrants is a threat to the English society and that the system can't take it anymore.